Accidental Death of an Anarchist was written in 1970, exactly 1 year after a real guy who was an anarchist was arrested by the cops purportedly for the bombing of a railway station and a Bank of Agriculture and a couple of pubs around Milan in 1969.
It was based on Giuseppe Pinelli, who was an anarchist that supposedly accidentally fell from a window on the 4th floor at police headquarters. But Dario Fo's got quite a strong opinion on his own beliefs with politics, and I think he's taken the information that he's got and he's used it, but he's obviously put a comedic twist into it to try and take the piss out of, police and government and say that this is what you thought happened and politically that's what got across the table, but this is what I know actually happened.
It's a farce, which means it's a comedy based on those kind of rather gruesome events. And I suppose through the comedy, it manages to tackle all of those issues in a kind of light-hearted way, but it also really does address those very difficult issues.
He took the elements of the real story and then turned them into a farce. And that, in that way, I guess it really calls on pretty old-fashioned commedia dell'arte techniques, where the commedia players, who all had their own characters, their own kind of stereotypical masters, servants, dottores, capitanos, they took current issues that were happening in particular places and they would continually incorporate those current issues inside their farces. I guess Dario Fo went one step further and placed the spotlight very much on what the cops did to this anarchist on this particular night, and by using a madman, one would expect him to be the most looniest and kind of lying character on stage. He actually inverts the whole thing and makes the madman the smartest guy on stage, who makes a mockery of the intelligence of the cops.
I think at the heart of the play, there's a particularly strong political sort of analysis, I suppose. And what it analyses is largely abuse of power, and in this case, particularly by the police, but also the extent of abuses of power when that becomes sort of the norm or the modus operandi of a particular institution, when it's kind of condoned, when violence is condoned as a means of getting information out of people, this sort of thing, which has happened the world over.
And I guess we in Australia have become part of that syndrome where, without any proof of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, we went in there and we are actually still there. And so I guess that thing of what is said to have happened, what is acted upon as a result of what is said to have happened, and that abuse of power is really what Accidental Death of an Anarchist is all about.
There are two sort of things that operate within the play. There's the kind of serious nature of the information, but then there are these really heightened, crazy moments of extreme sort of comedy, and it's based in the Italian comedy form, commedia dell'arte, which means the comedy of art, or an artistic form of comedy, based on very stock characters and sort of stock situations, which are called lazzis. And these lazzis are kind of routines. So you sort of flip between these two worlds of really heightened behavior, really heightened movement, where somebody slaps somebody in the face, and then as they spin around, they slap somebody else in the face, and then somebody gets a kick in the bum, and all of that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's very kind of formal again, and you have to sort of imagine that it hadn't happened.
I guess the beauty of working with the residents is that they are mainly a young, energetic, vivacious, vibrant cast. And I guess that gave me all the license to make as sort of muscular, energetic production as we can and use all the strengths of those ensemble members.
I hope that audience will, well, I think we all hope that audience will get an interest or a spark to go do some of their own research into politics and especially this event and what's happening now. So I think that the approach that maybe Dario Fo took on it, that if it was a lot lighter and you found yourself laughing at this, that, like I said, you'd register the information and then take it away with you and then go and look further into it. So just sparking an interest in politics and how the world is at the moment with younger people would be great.
What I would like an audience to leave thinking about and talking about in the foyer or well after is, well, what was that actually about? And I think that's where the theories behind Dario Fo's work in the last 40, 50 years is that, sure, it's great to have a great laugh, it's great to be able to poke fun, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to think about what you've just seen in a way that you might go, oh, it might trigger more discussion about the world, discussion about politics.
It is a comedy, so, you know, at the end of the day, you want people to laugh and have a good time. I think it's great that it has a message underlying that, and I'd hope that when people leave that the message has some kind of resonance as well. So yeah, they're the two things that I would hope for.
History has taught us every revolutionary movement ends up beginning from young people, and that's going to be the bulk of the audience for Accidental Death of an Anarchist.